welcome to another episode of The Decision Hour. I'm Adam.
And I'm Patty. I wasn't expecting that.
Patty, how's it going?
Hey, it's going.
Good. What do we got in line for everybody today?
Ghosting. Our friend John over at Green Zone Hero wanted us to do a show about ghosting, and we thought it was a good idea.
Wait, now ghosting. Are we talking like ghosting, like ghosting, or
No.
what kind of ghosting are we talking about?
So, like, have you ever had this happen where you're talking with somebody? In my case, it would be like business professionals, and then all of a sudden you don't hear anything again from them ever.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that type of ghosting. So, okay.
A lot of people will talk about ghosting when they're dating. I've been listening to some crazy morning shows sometimes, and they have people on there talking about how they were ghosted. They went out on a first date, and then all of a sudden they didn't hear from the person again that they went on the date with.
Right.
In my case, there have been a couple times when I was early in my career that I would talk with a business owner, and basically they would get my ideas and then ghost me and then steal my ideas. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had that happen a lot in my day. I've probably ghosted. I'm probably guilty of ghosting. I'll be honest. I'm probably guilty of it.
I have to.
Usually it usually comes to, like, if I owe money or something like that.
Me, it's like if you find out somebody's really crazy and you just don't want to address that, you're like, how do you address it? Like, you're a little too crazy for me. No, I'd rather just not say anything.
So what happens if you ghost on somebody and then you end up seeing that person again later on?
Hi, how are you?
Hey, what's it been? Like, I got a new phone, lost your number. Like, I don't know. Like, ghosting it seems to be a big thing. I don't want to say a big thing, but in my experience being a business owner and somebody that's done sales for, even just being in the sales industry, I've been in the sales since I was 17 in some form or fashion. And you get customers, or you get people that you've networked with or whatnot, and they say, oh, that's a great idea, I'd love to get involved, or, let's set something up next week, or, whatever the case is. And then all of a sudden you never hear from them again. Or if you hear from them again, it's several months later. And you're just like, hey, what happened? We got and then you always get like that excuse. And then when you try to set it up again to like revisit the whatever the game plan was, they end up ghosting again or whatnot. And instead of ghosting on somebody, it's just as easy as to say, I'm not interested.
Yeah, and that's what I do now.
If that's the case, obviously I'm talking from a business standpoint here. Like if it's a business, some type of business transaction or business interaction where you're trying to make a transaction from the interaction you have with somebody. If you guys are following along, if that makes sense, don't just ghost on somebody. Just say, hey, it could be as simple as, Patty, now is not the right time for me for the products that you're offering. AI sounds really cool, but I'm just not into that kind of thing right now.
Yeah, that's a good that's a good way of putting it. And I will say though that sometimes ghosting might be justified. So for me, I've had people, like a couple people say, I want you to address this topic right away. And I think you did this or that. Remember that whole internet bullying last year that I went through?
Yeah.
And you know what? For me, I feel like my ghosting was totally called for.
Absolutely.
Because I don't, when someone tries to bully you or someone tries to put you in a corner to make you talk to them, I say ghost them.
Somebody said that I've ghosted from the internet a little bit. If you follow me on social media, you see I don't post a whole lot, especially to my either one, my public figure page or my private page. And I'm getting tons of requests lately, which I thought was odd because I just don't make a lot of posts on there. Now I'll probably post something when I'm traveling this week or whatnot, because but it's I don't know. It's weird, and it's so weird that I just completely lost my train of thought of where I was going with that.
Well, you can be ghosted in different ways, or you can ghost somebody in different ways. Like I said, like the dating thing. Oh my goodness, I was listening to some hilarious stories about why either women or men have ghosted somebody. They went on a first date, and like this one guy is a gay guy, and he's talking about he went on a first date with this other man, and went back to this guy's house. Well, when he got to the house was disgusting. It was like totally dirty and everything else. So he was nice and was just like, I gotta get going now. But he went home and he wouldn't return text to the guy, and he didn't want to tell him like your house is a pig pen. So he ghosted him. So that's kind of funny. But then you have also like employees who might ghost their boss. Like they might think that their boss is a nice person, but their boss is not a good boss for whatever reason. They decide they want to leave that job, and instead of calling and telling the boss that they're going to quit, they literally just don't show up to work.
See, I don't that right there to me, if you ghost on a job that you've committed to, that's like you have no integrity. You have, it makes you look bad. Ultimately, it makes you, I don't care how bad the situation is. Just go in and quit. Don't just not show up, not make a call, not make this, because then you get fired. You know what I mean? Unless you're hoping that they fire you because you decide that you want to, get unemployment or you have some type of ulterior motive to do that. But you have no integrity if you can't just go in and quit. I've gone in where it's like, you know what, this ain't working out, I quit. Or give a 2-week notice. I try to give a 2-week notice, and sometimes I think on the 2 times that I've ever had to do that, the one was like, no, why don't you just make today your last day? All right, cool, appreciate it. Like, because I knew that was like it has gotten that bad where I'm just like, guy's a dick. But I'm gonna do the right thing. I was like, hey, I'm submitting my 2-week notice. Now today. Why don't you make today the last day? Perfect. Thank you. You're doing me a huge favor. Because if I had to come back in here the last 2 weeks, I would punch you in the throat.
Someone's feeling a little violent today.
I'm always that way. I mean, no, wait.
I'm always violent.
Wait, hold on. Let me bleep that out real quick. We'll use the AI noise.
Oh, my word.
But ghosting, right, don't ghost on people. That's really the point I'm trying to make here. And it's happening so much lately in the business world. Like this past year, there's been a lot of ghosting in businesses. The person that brought this topic to us has said there's been a lot of ghosting. He's experienced a lot of ghosting with stuff that he's done. I've experienced it too, and I think there's just. I want to give people the benefit of the doubt when they do it, because we get so busy in our lives. And I'm not using that as an excuse, per se, although it sounds like I am. I think there are times where you just hit certain plateaus, and there's different dips and kind of a rise and fall, if you will, of things happening, and people just get so caught up that they're like, oh, you know what? I was supposed to call so-and-so last week. Shit. Or, I was supposed to email, Patty about, this and that or the other thing. Like, I don't want, last thing I want people to think is I ghosted on them on purpose or anything, or that I ghosted them intentionally. Because even people that solicit to HMG or myself for something, hey, let's set up a call, blah, blah, blah. And if I miss that call or whatnot, and because I forgot to write it down or something like that, the last thing I want is somebody to think that I ghosted them on purpose. I'm going to be like, you know what, I'm not interested. I always say, if I'm not interested in a product that somebody's trying to either sell me or a service that they're trying to get me to use or whatnot, I'll just tell them straight out, like, listen, now, if it's something that I could see myself using in the future, hey, why don't you give me 6 months to a year, check back with me, and go from there. But I'm not ghosting on them completely, where it's just I don't I don't want that. So they can call me. They can blow up my phone. Because the last thing I don't want them blowing up my phone trying to get a hold of me either. You know what I mean? Or blowing up my email. So it makes it a lot easier not to ghost on the person, in my opinion.
It's just nicer too, because you don't leave somebody with like hard feelings, like making them guess why you're not talking to them anymore. I mean, it could be something pretty innocent, actually, like, hey, I'm super busy and I just really don't have the time and I'm not interested in your product. But I still really like you as a person,
There's a lot to go with honesty.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, really, it's just nicer. Because some people read into things too. So if you don't ever talk to them, they might think that maybe they offended you somehow. And then they have these hard feelings in their mind and in their heart. But really, it was just something innocent like, hey, I'm just not interested in your products, but you're a cool person,
Yeah.
So
yeah, that'd be me. I'd end up reading into something like
overthinking it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do that all the time, but we don't need to get into my stuff. So, but yeah, that's ghosting. So don't ghost people. Don't. Because
and have
rude.
you been ghosted? Maybe you've been ghosted. How did it make you feel? Have you ghosted somebody? Let us know in the comments. Tell us what you think.
Please.
Yeah.
What else?
I mean, I think that's about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know this is kind of a shorter program, but we don't want to drag it out too long because I think we covered all the bases well, don't you?
Yeah, I think so too. And I really want to hear what other people have to say. So like Patty said, leave a comment in the section below on if you've been ghosted, how, or if you've ghosted somebody, why. Share that with us so we can all learn. That's what we're here for. All right. So that being said, again, as always, Heroes Media Group, thank you. Check them out, heroesmediagroup.com. Until next time, for Patty, I'm Adam. You've been listening to The Decision Hour.